Good evening, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to discuss past paper questions of using the work of others, which is topic 6 in the AAA lecture series. Now the past paper lecture 5 and the topic is using the work of others. There are 5 past paper questions which have been tested till now. The first one is Faster Chat Company, December 14, question 3A. Question 2, Adams Group, June 14, question 1, part B. Stowe Group, December 13, question 1, part C. Z Group, December 16, question 1, part B. Fifth Bassett Group, June 18, question number 1, part B. If you can see, all these questions have been tested in the question number 1. Either it was a part B or part C. So now you can understand the significance level of block 1 topics. If any student skip any of the block 1 topic, then it's your loss. You may contact with those students who have failed at 49, 48, in the mid 45 or 40s. So it's better to cover the entire syllabus of AAA rather than do the selective study, because it will not gonna work for your preparation. Now, I will solve first 2 questions, and the third question will be your assignment. If you want to pass AAA, then you have to do the assignment. Otherwise, it's your choice. And the last 2, 4 and 5 has already been solved in the topic of using the work of other lectures, which you can watch on my YouTube ACCA Passpoint channel under the playlist of Block 1 lecture. Now, question number 3A, part 2, faster jet. As the part 1 relates to block 3 reporting part, but I will give you a brief overview of the part 1, but I will solve part 2. Now read. Faster Jets Company is an airline company and is a new audit client. Highlight the word new audit client of Brown and Company. Brown and Companies are audit firm. You are responsible for the audit of the financial statement for the year ended 30th November 2014. The draft financial statement recognized revenue of 150 million and total assets of 250 million. Part A. During the year, Faster Jets Company purchased several large plots of land located near major airports at a cost of 12.5 million. The land is currently rented out and is classified as investment property, which is recognized in the draft financial statements at a fair value of 14.5 million. Okay. The audit partner has suggested the use of an auditor's expert to obtain evidence in respect of the fair value of the land. Now, requirement in respect of the land recognized as investment property. Explain the additional information which you require to plan the audit of the land. Now, if you read the requirement again, it's specified by the examiner, then your both part answer should be specific to land recognized as investment property. So you can't say that this and that PPE blah blah blah. Okay, as the examiner has specified that the land recognized as investment property, so it means your both parts answer should be circulated around investment property. Okay, now part 1. Explain the additional information which you require to plan the audit of the land. If you watch my block 3 lectures on procedures and information, in which I have clearly mentioned that whenever an examiner asks about the additional information or further information, we obtain original document, because an information will always be in the form of original document. I have also listed down the few examples in my block 3 lecture. Let me give you these examples again. Instead of copy of the loan agreement, you will write loan agreement. Instead of draft of the fixed asset register, you will write fixed asset register. Instead of copy of the purchase agreement or lease agreement, you will write lease agreement or purchase agreement. Also, instead of the copy of the bank statement, you will write bank statement. So now you got the idea how to solve or how to define the additional information answer whenever examiner specify. Now in this case, you can write land agreement to confirm the purchase price of the plot. Also, you can write bank statement to confirm the amount of the cost paid by faster jet company. In respect of rented out and is classified as investment property, you can recalculate the working, or you can also check the bank statement regarding rental income received. So these are the information which you will write in your answer while writing part 1. Now solve part 2. Explain the matters to be considered in assessing the reliance which can be placed on the work of an auditor's expert. While doing the topic lecture of using the work of auditor or using the work of other, I have clearly mentioned that the criteria, that the prerequisite of using the work of others is ICED. I is for independence, C is for competence, E is for experience, and D means documentation. All the works performed by others should be properly documented. So this is the prerequisite criteria which we have to evaluate anytime before using the work of others. Now, answer. ISA 620 using the work of an auditor, you do not need to write the ISA if you do not remember or recall in your exam. You can just write using the work of an auditor's expert contain requirement relating to the objectivity and capabilities of the auditor's expert, the scope and objectives of their work and assessing their work. The first one is objectivity. Objectivity means independence. According to ISA 620, the auditor shall evaluate whether the auditor's expert has the necessary objectivity and that this should include inquiry regarding interest and relationships which may create a threat to the expert's independence slash objectivity. The audit firm will need to ensure that the expert has no connection to faster jets company, means both are independent to each other. Now, competence. ISA 620 using the work of other also requires the competence of the expert to be considered. This should include considering the expert's membership of appropriate professional bodies to ensure whether the expert is an experienced person, he has a proper qualification which required by expert bodies. Any doubts over the competence of the expert will reduce the reliability of audit evidence obtained. Means if there is any doubt on the expert competence, then it will ensure that the evidence is not sufficient and appropriate. The expert should, in this case, have experience in valuing land and be familiar with the framework for measuring fair value in accordance with ISA for IAS 40 investment property and IFRS 13 fair value measurement. Now, 3. Scope of work. ISA 620 requires the auditor to agree the scope of work with the expert. This may include agreement of the objectives of the work, means what is the work and how much amount of the work have already been performed, how the expert's work will be used by the auditor, and the methodology and key assumptions to be used. In assessing the work performed by the expert, the auditor should confirm that the scope of the work is as agreed at the start of the engagement. In the If the expert has deviated from the agreed scope of work, it is likely to be less relevant and reliable. Means if the scope is not defined and the amount of work has not been performed according to the scope of the work, then it means the relevance and reliability of the expert's work will not be up to the mark. Relevance and adequacy. ISA 620 states that the auditor shall evaluate the relevance and adequacy of the expert's findings or conclusions. This will involve consideration of the source data which was used, the appropriateness of the assumptions, and the reasons for any changes in methodology or assumptions. The conclusion should be consistent with other relevant audit findings and with the auditor's general understanding of the business. Any inconsistencies should be investigated as they may indicate evidence which is not reliable. Means you have to check the relevance and adequacy of the assumptions or estimates, whatever used by the expert in their work. Now, question 1, part B, Adams Group. Line and Company is located overseas where it can benefit from low cost labor in its factories. It produces low price fashion clothing for the mass market, means major market. A new inventory system was introduced in December 2013 in order to introduce stronger controls over the movement of inventory between factories and stores. Means from factories to ensure they have installed a new inventory system. You can say inventory management system, which ensure present or stronger controls over the movement of inventory. Lionett Company is audited by Clapton and Company, and its audit reports in all previous years have been unmodified. Okay, this extract have been copy pasted from your past paper exam question number 1. And in question number 1, the mark for the question number 1 is 50. So out of 58 marks allocated to this part. Now it is not possible to copy and paste the complete questions. Once we move to the block 3, then we will solve the other part of the question 1. As I have already told so many times in my lecture that the question 1 in your exam contain part A of business risk, part B significant risk of material misstatement or audit risk, part C audit procedure. Now, Lionett Company is also a subsidiary of Adam Group. Lionett Company is audited by Clapton and Company, and its audit report in all previous years have been unmodified. So it means we are a parent auditor, we are a group auditor. Who are we? We are a group auditor. Clapton and Company is a small accounting and audit firm, but is a member of an international network of firms. This is the best thing for Lionett and Company. Sorry, Clapton and Company. Lynette Company's draft financial statement position recognized assets of 24 million at 31st May 2014. Explain the matters to be considered and the procedures to be performed in respect of planning to use the work of Clapton Company. If you recall my lecture on using the work of others, in which I have mentioned the concept of significant component. Whenever the subsidiary is a significant component, so it means if the significant component is audited by another audit firm, then we have to perform the criteria of ICE. If the significant component is performed by us, then there is no error, means we can continue. Now, also there is a question how to check the significance criteria. There are mathematical factor as well as other factors such as subsidiary is in loss, subsidiary is a significant, overseas subsidiary, this and that. So if you can see in this question, the subsidiary is an overseas. Also, the mathematical percentage is if the subsidiary's profit, total asset or total revenue greater than 15% of the group's revenue, so it means subsidiary will also a significant subsidiary. Now, matters to be considered and procedures to be performed in respect of using the work of Clapton and Company.
The requirements in respect of using the work of a component auditor are given in ISA 600. Component auditor means Clapton and Company as they perform the audit of this Lionett Company. ISA 600 requires that if the group engagement team plan to request a component auditor to perform work on the financial information of a component, the group engagement team shall obtain an understanding of four matters. Now, what are the four matters? The group engagement team should ascertain whether the component auditor understands and complies with the ethical requirement and is independent. Further, the group engagement team should ensure whether the component auditor operates in a regulatory environment which actively oversees auditors should be understood. The group audit team should ascertain whether independent oversight bodies have been established in the jurisdiction in which Clapton and Company operates to oversee the auditing profession and monitor the quality of audit. This allows greater reliance to be placed on their work. Now, matter number two, the component auditor's professional competence should also be assessed, including whether the component auditor has the relevant industry specific skills and technical knowledge to adequately obtain evidence on the components. As Lionett Company reports under IFRS, thus Clapton and Company have adequate knowledge in terms of the group's applicable financial reporting framework. These all the wordings have been copy and pasted from the past paper. Now, Clapton and Company is a member of an international network means it is likely to have access to regular training. Again, from Clapton and Company till international firm is also copy and pasted from the question. Now you can understand how to draft an effective answer. You can copy the punchline and then you will have to just explain a little bit. It is likely to have access to regular training programs and technical updates, which adds to the credibility of their audit work. The group audit team should also gain an understanding of Clapton and Company's resource base to ensure it can cope with the work required by the group. There should also be evaluation of whether the group engagement team will be able to be involved in the work of the component auditor to the extent it is necessary to obtain SAAE sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Lastly, means fourth matter. The group audit team should carefully evaluate the working papers of Clapton and Company to ensure sufficient appropriate audit evidence gathered on risky areas within the component is fully documented. ICED, if you remember the criteria ICED, ICED, this is the most important criteria. Whenever you will get the question of using the work of others, you just have to use this criteria. ICED. Your answer should be revolved around this. ICED. Now, documented for reliance to be placed on evidence gathered and to be used as support and basis of giving opinion, means group opinion. Now, in this Adam's group, sorry, Adam is a group means is a parent and Lionett Company is Adam's subsidiary. Adam Group is our client, so it means we are a group auditor, and Lionett Company is audited by Clapton and Company. Means Clapton and Company is a component auditor. So in this case, we have to rely on the work of component auditor. But can we directly rely on the work of component auditor, even though the component auditor is a member of an international network firm? No, we have to check the criteria of ICED. In the first question, we rely on the work of auditors expert. So now you can understand how an examiner can ask you question on this topic. In most of your past paper exams sitting, as there are 5 past paper sitting, 2 has already been solved in the AAA lecture series. The one basic company also about relying on the work of component auditor. And once we move to the block 2 lectures, we will also cover further questions in the ISQM1 and ISQM2 in which there are some situations when we also have to rely on the work of others. Now, this is question 1C stock group. This is your assignment. If you want to pass AAA in first attempt, again, I am repeating, it's not for you to discourage or demotivate you, but it's just for your motivation. Try to solve these questions, buckle up, and be attentive. Now, there are just, I think, 4 to 5 more past paper questions on the remaining topics. Now we are just left with 4 topics. Then we will complete with the block 1 past paper questions. After that, we will move to block 2, sorry, then block 2, we will move to block 3, and then block 4. After that, our AAA lectures as well as their topic wise past papers will be completed. So if you want to pass this exam in your next exam sitting, whatever attempt would be, it's better to take the classes. Take care and goodbye.